This episode of Super Boothers is brought to you by the Photo Booth Expo in Las Vegas this coming March 12th to March 14th, 2018 at the Westgate Hotel and Casino. Visit photoboothexpo.com and use promo code SUPERB2018 for a key pass or SUPERB2018E for an exhibits only pass. See you there.
Hello and welcome to Super Boothers. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Ismail.
We were just talking about, I guess, the events that I just had this weekend, and I did a little Facebook post, and I will go ahead and read it to you. The Facebook post said, I have a hard time recognizing the good things when they are happening. However, today there were 3 events in 2 cities, and I'm ridiculously proud of my team and the content that was created today. Clients are all ridiculously happy, and I didn't take one single picture. It's amazing to me how one of my attendants that's been with me, I think going on 3 years, how far our industry has come in such a short amount of time. The lesson I think I learned here is to work on creating better content that people want to share.
Yeah, I saw that in the group, and I saw some people were commenting, trying to find out, more specifics about what you're referring to.
Someone said, post the great content. I'm like, yeah, no, I mean, my thing is, first of all, I give y'all people a lot. Second of all, I need to keep something to myself.
I mean, most people there's a lot of people that try to show off their best work.
No, I hide it.
And the reason for that is?
I don't want y'all stealing all my stuff.
Yeah.
This
is for inspiration, though. It can be inspirational.
Inspirational, whatever. This is the thing why designers are so protective of their work is because designs themselves they're not copyrighted. There's nothing preventing someone else from, stealing it artfully, I guess. There's a book called, I guess, How to Steal Like an Artist or something like that. I don't know. You can Google it or Amazon it or whatever. But the point is there is no such thing as original content anymore. It's always pulled from something else.
So and I actually see a lot of the stuff that you do. We talk a lot and we keep each other posted. You have this, skill where you actually do really cool stuff. What do you think gives you the ability to do that? And that's why a lot of people are curious. They want to see, they want to hear, they want to get inspired, and because they can't come up with that. Now you're doing it. Not only are you doing it, you have different teams in different cities doing it.
Sure.
So how do you build that skill? How do you have that skill? And how do you spread it to your team?
I have no idea. I mean, I know that's not helpful, but it's just, I think I've just been doing it for so long, and just, you kind of get into the mindset of what your client wants. Like, if I were hosting an event, what would I want to share? I think that one of the things that happened with this particular client, so I did this event for Costco. I actually, as of this last weekend, finished all of my holiday parties. So a lot of times, any company that they are busy during the holidays themselves, they don't take a day out to do their holiday party. Everybody's too tired. So what they do is they move their holiday party to January, where they can relax and really enjoy each other's company and, take the time to do whatever they need to do. So this particular client, she said she wanted black and gold as a green screen. That's literally all I got. And I got a Costco logo that was, the red and the blue. So what ended up happening was I did a black background with a gold bokeh effect. And I used that as the green screen backdrop. I modified the Costco logo, which I will say this, before you modify any company's logo, check with them first, because a lot of times they have brand standards on like what things that you can and cannot do. Generally, you're kind of fine with like making, I guess, the logo all white if you need to. But for the most part, if you don't mess with people's logos, they get a little, fidgety with that one. However, I ran it by her. I said, listen, I didn't want to do the red and the blue. I did like a little white gradient, and she said that was fine. It's perfect. It matched well with the theme of what was going on. And I showed it to her. We did the test run, and she goes, this is so beautiful. She goes, this is a million times better than what I thought I wanted. And that to me was great feedback, just because I was able to give her what she wanted without her having to really tell me.
If I could speculate, I think I'm not as creative artistically as you are. I think that's not a skill set of mine. But from what I've seen, one thing that may have something to do with it is that you're always around it. Like literally before we got on this recording, you just made a comment that someone sent you something beautiful. And even like the magazines you read or like the Instagram things that you follow, the websites I see you on, you're constantly surrounding yourself by, you know, things that inspire you creatively. Some people may not get that from where you get it from, but I think everyone has something that they can start, you know, exposing themselves more to get that inspiration.
Getting inspired really can come from anywhere. It can come from, you know, a movie that you see. Yesterday, I went to Katy Perry, and Katy Perry, I'm not generally a big fan of hers. I mean, yeah, there's a couple of songs that I like. I'm not going to be the one to say, oh my God, let's go to Katy Perry. Like, it was just kind of like the reason why I went to the concert was just kind of an afterthought. All of my friends went, and I kind of like had like FOMO, fear of missing out. So I was like, I guess I'll go. Like, I have to be there. Like, I can't go. I can't listen to all you people talk about this stuff and I not see what you saw. She is a very artistic individual. And it is absolutely something that cannot be learned. I mean, it is just something that just either you have it or you don't. It is like herpes. You can go through a magazine. You can go through a museum. I love being in New York. You can just see things on the street. You can see clothes that people are wearing. You can see, one of the things I love doing is looking at window displays. Window displays always will tell, you know, the mood of the country. I remember shortly after 9/11, the fashion industry turned into like very military. It was very militant. There was like buckles and, you know, like what's the little things called on the shoulders where they have like the little helmet. Kind of. But yeah, so I mean, it was just, you can see like the mood of where everything is going. And one of my other clients, they are a theme park. They did a very beautiful event based off of a theme park. They did a carousel theme, and it was so elegant for something that they generally do not do. Like, all of their marketing, all of their branding is very fun. It's very loud. It's almost gaudy. It's meant for kids. You know, whenever they go to an event, they don't want that. So it was done very well. There were 2 members of, I guess, this team that were with the company for 40 years. I can't imagine being, I will not work for myself for 40 years, yet alone someone else. I mean, it was just, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think, you know, the other part of this too is, like you said, you may get it, everyone gets it from different places, but it's also the mindset to be on the lookout. Like, I've been in situations where, like you kind of mentioned, you didn't really like Katy Perry, but you still got inspired by going. It was an unexpected source of inspiration.
The visuals, what people are wearing, all of it.
So it's like, I mean, obviously I'm not into makeup, but my wife is. And I think I mentioned this in a previous show where we went to a makeup store, and it was, you know, unpleasant experience for me. But you know what? I'm like, you know what? I'm here. I have to be here. I look around and I can appreciate, you know, the creativity that they use to build the theme there, even though I'm not a
the marketing, the branding, the light fixtures, how they're telling their story, all of it.
Yeah. And I think that's something that you should just keep in mind. Even if you're somewhere you don't want to be, try to look at it with a different lens and see how they put that together and why it's working. It may not be working for you, but it's definitely working for other people. And I really
enjoy, and we're getting a little off topic here, but that's fine. What I really enjoy about this is you can see how other people are applying different things. Fendi, a while back, they did a crane game, and it was like a really high-end version of this, but like it was like a crane that was made out of like gold, and it was picking up a purse. And that was the visual. And I just thought, gosh, that would be so cool to apply somehow in a photo. And you just kind of like, you know, take a picture of it, file it in the back of your head. And then whenever it comes time, you just kind of, you know, pull it for that one client that's going to say, hey, listen, we're doing a carnival theme. What do you think? Oh, you know what? Let's do this crane thing. It's so cool. And you just take one little element and are able to put that into your photos.
Do you do anything weird, like have like a bank of stuff for creativity? You just see something that you like and you store it somewhere?
In my office that has like little things that, like, I'll say it's very physical. I mean, it's not like a Pinterest board or anything. It's like a literal physical board. And I've had it easily for the last 15 years. I will see things that I like. There was actually, so in New York, there's Gotham Hall, and there is this wedding that they did. It must have been about 8 years ago now, so Gotham Hall is like this like rotunda, and they have, you know, this 30-foot draping that comes all the way down. I love that pink. And I just thought, gosh, I'm going to save this for whenever I have an event that I need to do with a really high ceiling. I just want to drape the hell out of it. And then sure enough, whenever it just comes time around, you just kind of think of it and, oh, that's what I want to do. And this goes with just like anything. I mean, I actually posted something on my personal Instagram that said, write your goals down on paper. Like all the stuff that you have, if I have a joke that I come up with that I want to like save for the show, I write it down. Like, and there's just something very tangible about like putting it down on paper.
Now, I think why this post that you put in the Facebook group, and by the way, everyone listening, if you haven't noticed, a lot of topics come from the group. So if you're not in the group, make sure you head on over there and join the group. I think the reason why this post maybe stood out to some people is that a lot of people in the industry kind of fall into the trap of just doing their usual. Yeah, I've got the booth, I've got some prints, that's really all they stick to. That's their bread and butter. And when they see someone else being able to do something more and hopefully charge more and get more out of it, they kind of wonder how to do that. I think it comes
to just educating your client and just being confident with your pricing, being confident with your product. I will say this, there have been maybe 3 times in my career where I have felt 115% of my product, where I know with what I'm putting out, I am, rightfully charging for. The only reason why I say only like 3 times in my career is just because I'm always self-conscious about my work, just because it's never up to my standard. And if there is something that, and this, if ever I tell you, oh my God, I absolutely love this, I'm in love with it, I really mean it, because it is just very few and far between that I enjoy what I do 110%. And so for someone made a comment about, oh, it's just more iPads. No, it is not more iPads. It is the power of what those iPads have. It is the power that I'm able to give to my client. And it is the knowledge that I'm able to give my client as well. And what I mean by that is, Photo Booth people right now don't know the power that they have. We are able to give people content that they cannot create on their phone. Well, actually, if they can create it on their phone, you're probably not doing your job correctly.
So can you drill into that a little bit more? Because I'm sure there's skeptical people out there that are like, hey, you can do this on the phone. Why do you need the iPad? It's not as good as the other cameras.
So
what do you mean specifically by that?
We are able to create content that they cannot create on their phone. And by that, I mean, with a green screen, with, overlays, with, whatever, where we are able to text them a photo and put that photo in their hands where they can share it on social media. If you are working for a brand, an agency, or anyone that is their main goal to get their word out, we are able to give them the power to share that content on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram.
And this ties into the last line you had in the post where you're saying the lesson you learned is to work on creating content that people want to share
it. This is why I get so pissed off with like some of my attendants. I'm really particular about lighting. I'm iffy on quality. Like if the quality is like a little off, I don't really mind it. If the green screen, if like any part of it is like not fully in the frame, I get pissed, because if you don't create a perfect image, someone isn't going to want to share it. And I want people to share this stuff. So the goal here is to create content people can't create on their phone to where they share it. Now, once they share it, and if there are 200, 500,000 people, we are able to give the analytics to that client, and they are able to see how far their message goes out, what their reach is. And that is just gold. You cannot do that with a physical print.
Yeah, it's kind of goes back to the previous episode about business cards, right? A lot of people are stuck with the physical cards, or the physical prints in this case, but there are certain advantages that the digital cards and these digital images being shared online can provide that
and
the physical ones can't.
I think we had a discussion about this, and someone was like, oh, I'll never do it. Blah, 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 blah. You don't have to do it. That's fine. I choose not to do it because that isn't my client that wants something physical. I'm not going to give you something physical to represent my business whenever I'm not giving you something physical as the output. I don't do prints. Why should I do a printed business card? That's just very off-brand for me.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't think of it at that level, but that's the kind of minutia that you have to think about your branding. This word share seems to be something that's important. I guess the way you see the industry trending forward, shareable content, right?
Well,
is that like a
so I
major
don't
metric
really
that you
measure how
measure?
much they're
How
shared
often
so
are these
much
things
as the
shared?
business that comes back out of it. It is getting to the point where I'm getting 2 bookings from each event that I do, which is it's a huge number. I did a New Year's party, which
That's a
is kind
great
of
position to
setting
be
like a
in.
trend for my business right now. Like right now, I'm kind of shifting. I said in a previous episode, right now, in the space that we occupy, I am the green screen person. Someone sent one of my ex clients sent one of her friends, hey, who do you know that does green screen in Vegas? Oh, call Ryan. He'll take care of you. It went from inquiry to booking within less than 15 minutes, paid in full, all ready to go, see in 2 weeks. The thing that I'm really excited for right now is I'm setting a precedent where I'm doing drop-offs, where I just set up the ring light, set up everything. We're all good to go. I'll pick up, the photo booth, at the end of the event or the next day. And I'm getting bookings out of it at a higher rate than I was whenever I was doing printing and doing props and, all this other fun
And
stuff.
why do you think that is?
I have no clue.
Come on, man. We need lessons. We need lessons.
No. I take that back. So I really have, I think I've honed in on what the big difference is the big difference now is I'm providing more value to them in how I sell it. I'm providing a larger experience. And that is a name that gets thrown around so much, and it's kind of stupid whenever you're not really doing that. However, in the content that I'm creating is far better than the content I've ever created, because now more people see it. Before, if we did an event, it prints out, it dies. Now we do an event, someone shares it, it lives on for a while.
Now, would you say that you spend a lot of your time on creating that kind of content, or is it something that's just natural?
No, I did it about 15 minutes before each event.
So you got to understand that people that listen to this are going to...
I know, it's pathetic. I'm sorry. I've always just done things quicker, and I work better under pressure, and just amazing stuff comes out of me in the least amount of time. If I have time to think about it, it's just not going to come out as magical. I mean, that's just how it goes.
And when you said earlier in the episode about your post that you were proud of the content and the team, right?
Yeah.
So because it's in different locations, are you really doing all of this creativity yourself, or is there a way you can infuse your team to carry that branch for you as well?
I do all the creative work just because I'm a little type A like that, and if I'm going to be putting it out there, I want it to. There's very few people that I would trust to do the creative part. And they know who they are, and I'm sure they're listening right now. However, what I really appreciate, and what I mean by my team being proud of my team, is they are able to make sure that they are the ones there giving the people ideas to create that content. They're the ones directing them, saying, hey, throw your hands up. Hey, blow a kiss. There were 2 coworkers that were like, hey, strangle each other. And it was the cutest photo because they were just playing around, and it was really cute in a boomerang. And it was funny because they were coworkers. And then in the next photo, they're kissing each other. So that's what I mean by whenever I'm proud of my team is they are the ones actually at the event on the front lines telling people what to do to give them photos to share.
And do you do anything to help them do that? Do you have any powwow beforehand to say, hey guys, this is what they're trying to go for. Here's what I had in mind. Here's the vision. Or do they just kind of naturally know how to do that? No.
I let them do whatever it is they need to do. I will say I'm type A. I'm not micromanaging like that. That's the thing is once the event happens and they're going, I just kind of forget about it after that. I leave it up to them to really create the content. And right now we're kind of in a good phase because, Instagram is, I'm almost getting half of my business from Instagram right now. It's just such an amazing tool that's free.
Yeah. So the skeptical people who will, see what you said and say that the industry doesn't seem that different except for the iPads.
You're not using those iPads to their full potential. Don't think of it as an iPad. You think of it as a tool to get to the point of where you need to be. It's kind of like there's a thing called Anchor where it is I think it's like a podcasting for an individual where you just hit record. That's the thing is for example, if you are actually, there's a thing called Masterclass. Steve Martin is teaching comedy. Annie Leibovitz is teaching photography. Helen Mirren is teaching acting. And I have a long flight ahead of me, so I'm contemplating just downloading all of them and just knocking through them. Each one of those people has said the exact same thing. Steve Martin says that people come up to him and say, what do I do about an agent? Where do I get my headshots? Shouldn't your first thing is to be good? That should be your first concern, is to be good.
To be great.
That's the same thing with Annie Leibovitz. She was saying, if you are so focused on what camera you're using and what light you're using and what lens you're using, your first step should be how to use a camera. Don't worry about your equipment. That's the big problem here, is if you are focusing too much on the stuff used to create the content versus the content itself. That's the big difference here, is you need to be working on how to be good no matter what you're using. That's the thing, is if you are a writer, you are using a pencil, a paper, a pen, a marker, a crayon, a computer. It doesn't matter what tool you use. What matters is what you're creating.
I've heard of something similar said a little bit differently, where the successful businesses, the successful people, the one thing in common with them is that instead of being obsessed with the output, they're all obsessed with the input. And what they mean by that is they're not concerned about, let's say a writer, about the publisher, how do I position this in the market? They're focused on the input, the writing. They get obsessed about the writing. And I think kind of what we were saying, Ryan, is get passionate about creating this content that's shareable in the industry and not get focused on all the other things that are distracting. And it's tough as a business owner because you see all these trends, right? And when I see people, talk negatively about or say, hey, I like the strips, I like the prints, I like this, I like that. You got to be very careful of not jumping on trends just because they're a trend, but not just getting stuck in what you're doing and missing the boat. And there's a lot of examples in history, Kodak, Blockbuster, even people that owned horses before cars came out. You don't want to just poo-poo the new thing and stick to the old thing. You got to be very careful about that.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If you are in Australia, now is your last chance to purchase tickets. We are doing our Super Boothers Down Under event. Tickets are available at superboothers.com. Thanks so much for listening, guys. We'll see you next week.